Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 30 Inspiring Women in 30 Days. This is a really, really exciting episode for me because today we're interviewing a woman that I consider a younger sister. To date, she has recorded 13 albums, which includes having recorded over 150 singles with other artists. She has 5 kids. She's finishing up her bachelor's degree in psychology. She's also the owner-operator of the We Set Up Shop clothing line. Her music has taken her out of her native city of Angels to cities across the globe. I've had the pleasure of traveling with her, and she is a total badass. Please welcome the incomparable Dolly Girl.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lie. When you told me that you had over 13 albums and that you were currently recording a 14th, I was blown away.
I'm blown away.
On this call, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I touched on was how you grew up. What was the culture of your home like? What got you started into music?
It's crazy because a lot of people trip out when I tell them the story. I'm an only child, so I came from a family of 3. Mom, dad, and myself. You know, I was raised just like your average, kid, Mexican home. Mom and dad, both had jobs. They worked a lot. I had different babysitters. I say babysitters because we had a hard time trying to find one that could handle my ass. And, I grew up in the city of Los Angeles and Lincoln Heights. I've always been a very, just go and get it, just go and look and trying to find answers myself since I was a kid. I was always out and about and started hanging around, I guess you could say, some tougher crowds, and I really liked that lifestyle. So, I got myself, tied up with a couple of people, and I started kind of learning life my way. Mom and dad, they didn't grow up in that lifestyle, so they didn't know what to really keep me away from or aware of. I got in trouble and stuff, but it wasn't until I met my car club, night crowd back in the day, that when I started building lowriders, it just kind of slowed me down a little bit. And so, building the cars and being the lowrider scene, and then at that time, it was just an amazing feeling because I was the only female literally out on Whittier Boulevard in a lowrider. So, of course, all eyes were on me. I met a lot of interesting people, and I started going to car shows and everything. So just that scenery already, I was very easily adapted to. 2 of the guys that were in my car club at that time, Mystic One and Cyclone, rapping and doing stuff. And then one day they told me that they needed a girl to do a verse on one of their songs. And I was like, they hit me up about it. I was like, what's a verse? What do you guys need me to do? What? They gave me a beat. They said, you know what, you write a lot. 'Cause I wrote a lot, too, as a kid. Since being an only child, I had tons of journals. So I used to let my frustration out on books. I used to write a lot of journals since I was pretty much in 5th grade. And I still have a lot of those, too. I asked them exactly, what do I have to do? They said, just, kind of write to the beat, try to let your words fall in pocket and everything. So I was like, okay. So I took the beat home, and I sat on it for about a week because my mindset wasn't really set at that time because my father at that time was in and out the hospital a lot. And it came one day when we went to, when my dad was in the hospital, I was just there, just waiting, and I can remember the beat they had gave me, and I just started writing to it when I was there at the hospital. And then when he came home, I actually went that day to go record the song. And it was a little beatbox radio that they had, just sitting there in the living room. And I recorded to it, we put it on, we put it up together nicely, and I got a burned CD copy, and I brought it home, and my dad had heard it, and he was so happy. Even though I was cussing and everything on it, he was just so happy to hear me on a CD, and he didn't care how it was, what I said. He was just so happy. My dad, he was a respected man in the city of East Los Angeles, because he worked a lot with the chairmen and very important people, and he did photography for celebrities and everybody in the Latino industry. He worked with a radio station, Univision, and everything. So that was another thing I was also adapted to. And also since a little child, he would always put me in talent shows at school all the time to perform and everything. So again, I was adapted now to just being on stage. So the day when my dad heard that song, 3 days later, my dad, we had put him to rest because nothing was holding him up anymore but the machines. And after that, I knew in my heart that my dad always wanted this for me, and I always loved doing it with him. To this day, I know 100% that he would be my manager. You know what? I want to do this for him and myself as well. And a really short time after that same song, it got put out, and somebody had heard it. So I went and did a show. I performed at this guy named Johnny U party. He had heard me. He liked the way I sounded, and he set up a meeting. So I had no idea what he wanted to talk about, but we went, we sat down, and he's like, well, I'm bringing you on because I would like to do an album on you. And I just looked at him, I was like, well, hey, homie, just so you know, I don't rap. And when as soon as I said that, he didn't respond. He just pulled out his checkbook and made me a check for like $2,500. He showed it to me. He was like, I want to do an album. I go, I got you. Not knowing what the hell I was getting myself into, I just took that check and said, yes, I got this. And next thing you know, here I am, this chick from the hood, and I am sitting on my first day with number one producer, Mr. Tony G, sitting with him, getting ready to record my first single. Now, if you know Tony G, he's recorded everybody from Dre to Eazy-E to Frost to, oh my God, everybody. And he's like, all right, well, what are we going to get to? This is how we're going to do it online. I'm just like, yo, Tony, I don't know what the heck I'm getting myself into. He told me how to write my bars, how to separate my sentence, you know, my words and everything. Next thing you know, I'm in Lowrider magazine. All these people are hitting me up. I started to think like, man, wow, like this is amazing that I'm able to touch these people with my stories. My music has changed so much because from the first album, I laid it out like pretty hardcore. That's when I was really active and I was in the streets, and my mentality was just in the gutter, like just streets and being thug and being hard and whoop-de-whoop. Today, like I hear back my music and like, man, I've grown so much. But a lot of people still like what I used to do from the first album to now. And I get told a lot that a lot of people, you know, tell me that I've helped them a lot through my music. And that's just like, wow, how was I able to do that? And I just started seeing little by little that I started meeting so many people that I would actually be able to relate. I felt like I was the only one out there going through stuff like that. And then to run into so many people that are going through almost the same thing I am, it just felt good. Of course, there's been a lot of punches along the way and barricades and bumps and you name it. And I've hit a lot of tears, blood, sweat, and tears, all of it. And I'm still here, and I feel that I'm still here because it continues to be very therapeutical for me. It makes me feel like I'm not alone, and I love the fact that there's others out there just like me, and I love the fact that I'm able to reach other people and have them think twice before they make any kind of move.
So, Dolly, one of the things that I love to tell people about, because they have these preconceived notions of what someone should be based on where they've been, one of the things I love to tell people is that you are a psychology student and you're actually almost done with school. Tell us how you got involved in going back to school and how you decided on psychology.
So I remember stepping into this office one time to sit down and talk to the psychologist, and he literally, first words were, tell me a little about yourself. But then the next thing I said was, no, wait, you tell me a little bit about yourself. And when he gave me his rundown story, everything he's been through, well, pretty much was nothing that I've been through. So I told him, well, before I tell you my story, I don't think I could even tell it to you because after what you just told me, how are you going to help me if you never ran a day in my shoes? So I got up and I walked out and I was just like, wait a minute. You know, it's like if I'm going to sit down with somebody who's going to try to help me, there needs to be at least somebody who's at least done half the stuff I've done or something I've done to help me out. Because how am I going to be? No, how is somebody going to help me who's never stepped a day in my shoes? And that just made me think, like, you know what? If I'm doing this, like, you know, I mean, this is something that I have to do to help people. So, you know, I told myself one day, you know, I would like to do that. I would like to be the person across and help people out. And then I started doing the whole music thing. And then with the music thing, you know, it never left my mind. I was always, my mom too would always tell me, don't forget, go to school. And I was like, I will. And as soon as I get that open window, I'm going to do it. And then I started noticing I was doing it through my music. And then that's when I said, you know what, I need to take this step another notch because I really want to do this, like, seriously. So when that window opened up, I jumped in it, and I started going to school for psychology because I want to be able to help people who I know what they're going through. I feel what they feel, and I want to be able to give them the best options in that position, you know? It was that moment that made me be like, yeah, I need to do this, you know, so other people could relate, because I don't want nobody going to go see and trying to figure things out with somebody who's never stepped a day in their shoes.
Yeah, I love that story, because relatability is so important for anything that we do, right? From as an artist, you know that everything is relatability, and also in the field that you've chosen to explore further, psychology. There's a lot of relatability there too.
Right.
So I just love that story. You are a queen of words. You always put you're the queen of something, and I've seen your title evolve, but you're always the queen. I wanted to ask you, we sort of have this theme. The idea of this workshop is, we've titled it Mi Vida Nueva. Talk is cheap,
nice,
but inspiration is priceless. And in that vein, and the theme of having a new life, and with talk being cheap but inspiration being priceless, we have this idea of, okay, so keep your words maybe to a minimum. If you had one word that you lean on that is you, what would that word be?
As you said it earlier, it's the word queen, because I feel that every woman, even man, that has hustled and pushed through barricades and everything to be successful, or at least doing something, deserves to be crowned. We're supposed to remember ourselves.
I love that, Dolly, because so many of us will take on labels that are not noble. But you have been through it. You've been through the streets. You've been through the streets, and you've been through college, and you've been through so much. But you take that noble title, and that noble title can come from anywhere.
Exactly, and that's like, and I'm slowly letting people know that, because I know that I have gotten messages from people like, why do you think you're the queen? You ain't that good at rapping. You ain't that good. I never said I was the queen of none of that stuff. Because I have lyrics in my music where it says I don't need a crown to remind me who I am or what I'm doing or what I'm fighting for. I just need the love from my hood, because it's true. Because I deserve to be crowned, because out of everything I've already been through, period, and I'm still here, and I'm still focused, and I'm still trying to achieve more. Like, I don't want to settle for less, and I think anybody should be, crowned for something like that, especially when I've never given myself that kind of credibility, which I should have been since day one. Even sometimes from today, like, I forget about myself, because I just always have had a big heart, and I look out for others. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, that's good. You did everything for everybody else. It's good. You did what you had to do, but you need to do you. Put your crown on and take care of you today. Get yourself the pat on the back. Give yourself that moment to be like, hey, I'm a queen. Let me just chill. Let me sit back and see everything that all the seeds that I've been planting, and watching them all grow.
Wow. I mean, Dolly, I love you to death. You know that. We have traveled all over the place, and I just love hanging with you.
And more to come.
And more to come. I think you said it all. We have been on for 33 minutes. I think if somebody doesn't get something out of what you said, they just need to listen again. Thank you for being yourself, being the queen, la reina, having no shame in who you are, and in that pride, also inspiring so many other women. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So those of you who want to keep up with Dolly can find her on Facebook at Dolly Girl Music, on Instagram at Dolly Girl, and most of all, you can find her on YouTube at Dolly Girl Music. She also has a website, wesetupshop.com. And thank you so much. This is Angel Aviles for Living Firme. I just want to thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast, 30 Inspiring Women in 30 Days. We at Living Firme look forward to bringing you more inspiring content every day for the next 30 days.